All right, let's bring in RNC Chair Michael Whatley. Michael, good morning to you. So let's talk more about the latest round of Fox News polls. Among likely voters, it shows Donald Trump up by 1 point in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump up by 1 point in North Carolina, and Donald Trump and Kamala Harris tied in Michigan. You have said that Donald Trump is in a very good position to win on Election Day. Why do you feel that way, given that these polls are a neck and neck and within the margin of error?
Two different things are going on. First off, when you compare where we are today versus where we were a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, we are in dramatically better shape. President Trump being tied in these polls, having a small lead in these polls right now, compare that to him being down by 5 or 6 or 8 points when he was down, in 2016 or in 2020. So we're in a much stronger position there. We also are seeing the shifts in the polls that are out there. The second important thing is right now when we look at voter registration, we look at the people who have requested absentee ballots, the ballots that have been returned, and the early voting in all of these states. Republicans are seeing huge gains versus what we did in 2016 and 2020. So Donald Trump is in a fantastic position to win on Election Day. We're in a much stronger position than we were 4 years ago or 8 years ago.
Yeah, to put a bow on that first point that you made, it still remains to be seen whether Donald Trump will be undercounted in a third straight polling cycle. I know some of our colleagues at other networks had said, not this time. This time he could be overcounted. We will see when it all shakes out in the watch. But I want to ask you about this. When Democrats talk about this race, they talk about and brag about their ground game. They always say, we have hundreds of thousands in individual states, like in Pennsylvania, 120,000 or some ridiculous number like that. Are you confident in Republicans' ability to counteract what the Democrats think is their advantage in the ground game?
Absolutely. That's one thing the Republicans have always done well. The RNC has always done well. We've retooled our ground game this year to talk to low propensity voters. What we're seeing in these initial results from the battleground states is that we are overperforming with our low propensity voters, which means the program is working. We have thousands upon thousands of volunteers out there right now making phone calls, knocking on doors. We feel great about the ground game. And we also have Donald Trump, who is absolutely a single person machine when it comes to getting out the vote. And we see the excitement at every single rally, at every single event that we go to around the country, where people really, truly are fired up and want to get out there and vote for him.
Yeah, well, Michael, I'm sure you didn't think you'd be talking about garbage as much as you are now in the final stretch of this election. But here we are. Here is the White House on the latest from the White House on what Joe Biden said on Tuesday. Watch this.
Why is he using that kind of rhetoric? How is that presidential?
So a couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Which is why he this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say. And so just want to make that very clear for folks who are watching.
Okay, so right now Democrats are talking about how a comedian called Puerto Rico garbage, and Republicans are talking about how the president called half the country garbage. Does any of this really matter when the number one policy issue, the number one election issue in the country is the economy?
Well, look, what I would say is this, that two things really come out of the president's comments about calling half of America garbage, is that there has always been a streak within the Democratic Party in denigrating Republicans, denigrating half the country, from Hillary Clinton calling them deplorables, Tim Walz calling them Nazis. We have seen, Hillary Clinton bashing people. Now we've seen Kamala Harris calling President Trump a Nazi. And then we see this comment here. So it is continuously denigrating half the country. The other thing that I think is really important is that Donald Trump came down the escalator 9 years ago, said that he was going to make America great again by restoring our southern border, rebuilding our economy, and ensuring that we as a country are strong enough to protect our interests and our allies all around the world. That is what he did during his 4 years. That is what he is focusing on right now, is lifting up every American family through a stronger economy, rebuilding the border, and ensuring that we're going to be strong enough to protect our interests.
Right.
What is Kamala Harris's closing argument? You people are very bad people. You are horrible people. Please vote for me. That's not an argument that's going to work. And right now, the fact that she does not have a substantive closing argument is because she cannot talk about the economy.
Right.
She cannot talk about the southern border. She cannot talk about our standing in the world. And really, truly, all they have to fall back on is name calling and finger pointing.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, to your point, this is not about Biden stutter. He has said these things before. This is not about an apostrophe. This is how they feel.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.